Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing Motor City from Motor City Gameworks. This is a prototype. This is a game that is shortly on Kickstarter, March 8th. There'll be a link in the description down below. But this is the third game in their Roll and Write series, which is why we have these on the table. We have Fleet the Dice game, we have Three Sisters, and we have Motor City, the newest one in the line. Now, this is not a comparison video. We actually will probably, hopefully, maybe have one of those coming, but that's not this video. This is just about Motor City. Motor City is a roll and write game that takes place across 8 rounds. It's a game in which you're going to be rolling dice, putting them on the various slots to lock in the potential actions you have. So let's go ahead and smot this and put these down over here. The way it works is the various rows correspond to the various dice, the dice colors, and then the various columns correspond to the numbers, and that dictates where the dice will go, and therefore where you will take the dice from in order to take a variety of actions. Before we go into how that plays out, though, every round you're going to roll the dice, you're going to assign the dice to the board, and then you're going to start taking dice to take various actions to basically build the best, car, factory, plant, whatever it is, as you go through this. You're going to be running a few different sections of your departments. You're going to have your car dealership over here where you're going to be selling used cars. It's going to be one of the ways you get money into the game, which is important for a variety of upgrades you're going to want to get. We have our testing center over here where we're going to test our various cars, running them around various racetracks in order to basically get bonuses as we go. We're going to have our production facility over here where we're going to start getting a lot of points and some in-game bonuses as well, assuming we're able to get a bunch of other tiers as we slowly move across the production center. And then in engineering, you'll have a lot of bonuses as well as end-game scoring as you move up those tracks. You're going to have to gather engineers first, but you can go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to try to go over the basic sequence and things. I'm not going to cover every little detail because the game is actually fairly easy to teach. It's usually the devil's in the details here. A lot of symbols here that correspond to this there as you check off this, as you check off that. This is a roll and write in which you're going to have cascading bonuses left, right, and center. You're going to get this and get that, turn this into that, upgrade that action in order to be as efficient as possible across 8 rounds. But let's go ahead and show you a turn of play. So I have this set up for a 2-player game. I'm going to simulate the second player just by taking dice and putting them off to the side, but let's go ahead and go through this. So I've rolled 5 dice on the starting player, and let's go ahead and take a die. So I will grab this die over here from this column. Now before the game begins, I do have to check off 1 engineer and 1 car that I start with. I can earn more engineers and cars as I go through things, but for right now, I'll go ahead and grab this engineer over here. So I'm going to mark in this engineer here. I have that engineer, and I will grab this car on this track here. So I'm going to grab that rightmost car, and that's the car and engineer that I have. With that in mind, I'm going to grab this light bulb over here. So I'm going to take the light bulb bonus. Whenever you take a die from the track, you take the bonus underneath that die, if any. There are none in the 6th column, but that's because the 6th column gives you the greatest flexibility of actions. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to mark off 1 spot on my research track, and as you move up your research track, you'll generally earn, there's 3 bonuses you can earn, but you'll earn bonuses and or extra actions. You get free actions every 3rd pip on the research track. So I got 1 spot on the research track. I'm going to take the engineering action. Now this is where your 4 action spots are key, because your action spots all start with level 1 strength out of a possible level 5 strength. When I take this die, the first thing I take, like I said already, is the bonus. The second thing I do is up to me. I can either take another research, that's option 1, I can alternatively take the action at the top of the track, or lastly, I can upgrade the action at the top of the track. That means that if I had the requisite amount of money, which is 5 for level 2 or 7 for level 3, then I can cross off little sections of money over here that I've already earned, which I don't have yet, unfortunately, and I can upgrade that action, making it stronger in the future. I don't have 5 money, so I'm not going to upgrade the action. That's something you're going to want to do very early on. You want to get up 1 or 2 of those tracks and strengthen those actions because you want to have the area in the game where you are better and stronger than other players. But I'll grab that die, I'll place it down in engineering, and I'm going to take the, no, that's getting ahead of myself. I'll take the engineering action, and to that end, because it's level 1, I will move up 1 on these tracks. Now, because I have an engineer over here, I only have 1 track I can currently go up until I unlock more engineers, and to that end, I will go ahead and mark off that dollar, getting the dollar bonus, circling the dollar, at which point later I can fill in the dollar to spend it. That was my engineering action. But we're not done yet. A full turn has basically 3 actions attached. The bonus, if there is one, taking another research, upgrade, or the action of the assigned track, and then slotting this into 1 of my 4 tracks for my own bonus. You're getting 3 things out of every die, effectively. To that end, I don't want more sales. I don't want more production. I think I want to start moving up the testing track. So I'm going to go ahead and start moving up the testing. You know what? Maybe I do want more production. Maybe I do want engineering. I do want engineering. I'm going to slot that into engineering, which will give me another pip on this track, which earns me another light bulb. You can start seeing already how things are starting to cross in the tracks. The other player is going to go ahead and take a die. Let's pretend he takes the 5. Okay, that's a good bonus over there. We'll talk with him later. Back to my turn. I'm going to grab... Oh boy. I do kind of want... Let's go ahead and grab that over here. I'm going to grab this die over here, and we're going to take that. That will give me 1 pip on the car track. Okay, so whenever you see a single pip plus the car symbol, it means you take the associated action with the strength 1 pip, regardless of what your strength is. So 1 pip on the car track. I only have 1 car track. I'm going to go ahead and mark off the first spot on the car track over there. And then, like I said before, we're going to go ahead and take the sales action. That's going to give me a money. And then lastly, I can slot it to any die except engineering because that spot is taken. I could go ahead, I'm going to go ahead to testing because you'll see what happens here. I'm going to go to testing where I'm going to go ahead and mark off another car on the car track because again, strength 1 action. That car, marking that off gives me a light bulb, which earns me my first light bulb bonus. So I've got a light bulb action over there, which means I can now take any one of either these 3 bonus actions, which are TPS reports that I can use towards other actions, or getting an extra engineer if I had a TPS report, or gaining a spot on my speedometer if I had a TPS report, which I don't have TPS reports, so that's going to be part of my decision tree, or I can just take another action. Because of the fact that these bonuses are are the same strength early or late game, but my actions will get stronger late game as I upgrade them, I'm going to go ahead and earn 2 TPS reports, and I'm going to go ahead and cross off this TPS report over here. I want that one there, and maybe I want to do on a track. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and be fairly lame. I'm going to cross off both these TPS reports, setting myself up to be able to earn those bonuses the next time I move up those research tracks. That's my action. The other player is going to take one of these, doesn't really matter at this point, and then all players will take the remaining action. So, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and utilize, meaning everyone can take the remaining action, which is if it was in a column like this, you would just take the top action of the column. If it's in this column, we can take the top action of anything, although you can't upgrade, you can just take that action. And to that end, again, I have no upgraded actions. At this point, I have a few things I'm considering, but I'm going to go ahead and... Sales might be helpful. I could use cash, but once I'm going for cash, I'll take a production action because a production action is going to let me move 1 up on this pip here, which is going to give me, well, $1 anyway for getting that. So we'll go ahead and do that. I now have $3 earned, and then at the end of the round, you're going to look at your speedometer. You're going to see how far you filled in your speedometer and take the associated bonuses. So the speedometer is an important part of the game because you're going to keep earning bonuses for it every single round. I'm going to go ahead and mark off 0 in round 1 because I've gotten 0 on the speedometer, and then we'll go into round 2. I'm going to do round 2, just going through the sequence of plays so you can again get a feel for things, and then we'll dive into the review. But first, before we do that, let's go ahead and roll the auditor. The auditor is blocking the 5th spot. So the auditor dice can be rolled every round. A 6 would be re-rolled. A 1 is a free pass, but a 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks the associated action, so my engineering action is blocked off. Not what I wanted to hear today. But let's go ahead and go through it, and we're going to do this over here. Now, it's worth noting, this track over here, we didn't roll any 5s, but had we rolled a 5, this track is not blocked off. The auditor does not block this track. It only blocks your own individual action. But let's go ahead and put these over here, like so. We got that, and that, and that, and that. Again, 2 6s. 6s are not as common normally when I play. In any case, the other player goes first this time, so they're going to go ahead and grab this action with the 2 money. They'll take that action from me. I'll go ahead and... I think I'm going to move up the speedometer, earning my TPS report. So I'm going to go on this track. I'm going to check in a speedometer action. You can earn those on your board as bonuses, but you can also get it from the 1 column. I'm going to earn a TPS report, which I'll cross off. I'm going on this track, so I'll cross off this TPS report because I'll start getting towards that hub. And then I'll take that 1, and I'll put that 1, where do I want to put it? Production, sales, or testing. Testing's good because then I can go ahead and get 2 cash. So I move it there, testing. I earn 2 cash, which also earns me a light bulb, which means I check off that over there. That's my turn. They're going to go ahead and take the bonus action so they can get the light bulb, denying me that, the jerks that they are. Now, the good news is I can go ahead and take an upgrade action, which I think I'll go ahead and do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this action and I'm going to upgrade engineering. Okay, so I'm going to upgrade the engineering. I'm going to do that by crossing out 5 money. Okay, so I'm going to cross out, I'm going to fill in 5 squares of money, 5 pips of money, in order to spend the 5 money necessary to upgrade my engineering to level 2. I'm going to start leaning heavily into those engineering bonuses. So that was the action I took. No bonus there. And then I'll go ahead and place it on production so I can start moving my way down this track. We'll get 1 check over there and done. At the end of the round, we'll both take the action remaining. And I'm going to take the engineering action because my engineering action is upgraded to level 2, which means it's stronger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mark up my engineering action. I'm going to cross off this action here, which I'm going to be able to go up 2 on the square. So I'm going to go to E as well. I've earned my E bonus, which is over here. So I've crossed off that. And then I also earned my little engineering, my little upgrade for production. So I get to upgrade my production action, and I'm on the way to starting to upgrade my production. I'll go ahead and get 1 point for my 2, and that's basically the game. Rinse and repeat across 8 rounds of play, and your actions will escalate every single round. The little progress I made over here may seem like it's not a lot, and it's not, but it's going to escalate as you play. Your actions are going to get stronger, the things you do are going to get stronger, your interweaving and interlocking bonuses are going to get stronger, and you're effectively trying to get stronger on 4 primary departments. Like I said, you have your car dealership, where you're going to get a lot of money throughout the course of the game, and then use that money for various bonuses. Buying a new car costs 8 money, ignoring the auditor costs 4 money, and then upgrading actions costs 5 or 7. You'll also earn various bonuses as you go, and money at the end of the game is also worth points. You have a speedometer, which is going to give you escalating points every round. If you can get that speedometer up and running in the first few rounds of the game, you can start getting chunks of 5, 6, 7 points every single round, which is huge in a game that typically is under 100 points. When I say typically, I mean when we play. So if you're scoring a lot more than me, let's pretend that's because the final copy of the game just gives you more scores, more points. Anyways, from here we have the testing center, which you're going to go on 3 different tracks and moving around, collecting various bonuses. You can earn extra engineers. You'll earn a lot of things that correlate to the production factory. You'll also earn the possibility for some of these awards over here. These are 4 awards you can earn during the course of the game that will give you either in-game or either in-game benefits or end-game scoring. From there we have the engineering, like I said already, where you're going to be moving up these tracks, upgrading actions, earning bonuses, and when you get to these top hubs over here, if you make it that far, if you earn the associated TPS reports or whatever requirements they have, then those will give you scoring for various achievements or requirements you've gotten throughout the course of the game. They can be big chunks of 8 to 15 points per hub, so you want to try to focus on those or the ones that you think you'll be able to maximize and optimize as efficiently as possible. And then lastly, we have the production. Production is you're going to be moving along these tracks, earning bonuses as you go, but as you cross off a hub, as you reach a hub, you have to both encircle the hub and earn the things in the hub, at which point you can get the various bonus. In that case, that's a speedometer track, but some of the earlier bonuses are speedometer based, and some of the later bonuses are just chunks of points for the end of the game. And that is Motor City from Motor City Gameworks. Let's go ahead and dive into the review, starting off with ease of play. Ease of play, rules are very easy, the game's easy to teach. The biggest issue is just there's a lot of symbols going back and forth, and I do find you frequently have to kind of teach the game and then understand that people will have no idea what's going on until they're halfway through the first game. And then they're going to want to reset and replay now that they understand that this connects to that, this leaves with that, that symbol meant that. Because if you try to teach people every single symbol before the first game, you're going to get into that kind of rules fatigue, where there's just too much and they're not really figuring it all out. So to a certain extent, I do find that this game kind of has a throwaway half first game, as people just learn the game, and then they dive into it, understanding how things link together, how things click. A game will run typically around 30 to 45 minutes. It depends on the player count or whatnot if you're playing it solo, but I find somewhere in that range is about normal, and that's basically it. For ease of play is pretty solid. As far as player count, 1 to 4 player game. I've played this at 1, 2, and 3 players. Solo was okay. I didn't love the solo game. I was fine with it. It did a good job. I just prefer playing this at 2 and 3 players, at multiplayer game. But at 2 and 3, equally fine. I imagine 4 would be equally fine. Another player adds a minimal amount of downtime as they select dice, but you're using those dice to various, and by the way, you add more dice as you have more players. The goal is 2 dice plus 2 dice per player plus 1 die for that end of round bonus. But yeah, a 1 to 4 player game, interaction is going to primarily be in the dice, and then that's really it. Past that, you're playing your own little solo game. As far as what I like, don't like, and can see others not liking, this is an easy win for me, or should have been an easy win for me, and is an easy win. But a roll and write from the designers of Fleet and from the designers of Three Sisters, 2 games that I absolutely love, is likely to hit that same notes as long as you're doing the same things, and it is while also being different. And it is different, we'll get to that shortly. This is comboing roll and writes. You're going to upgrade your actions, you're going to be getting stronger and stronger as you proceed through the game, you're going to be interlinking tracks in different ways. The game is just rewarding. It's rewarding as you start going up these tracks, you start earning these bonuses, as you try to find the optimal pathway of which actions to upgrade, which pathway to take. And I've tried different pathways. I've tried upgrading any one of these 4 different pathways to level 3, and they all seem compatible, meaning you can upgrade multiple to level 3, but I've tried upgrading the first one of each track to level 3 in different games to see if they're all viable, and so far they all seem to be fairly competitive. There are multiple pathways to victory, and it's not going to be as simple as you need to upgrade testing or you need to upgrade sales. It's going to be you need to upgrade testing and be really good at everything else you're doing too. You need to upgrade engineering and be really good at everything else too. You need to maximize the various ways everything ties together, and it has that similar feeling as any of these combo-tastic roll and write games. You have multiple tracks going on that seem intimidating at first, that seem like you'll never get anywhere at first. But odds are you'll actually be able to get further along the tracks than you ever anticipated, while still not being able to actually finish them, which is part of the point. You never want to finish them. You want to feel like you can finish them, and you want to go through that feeling of just trying to power up. And this game has that with the way you upgrade your actions. And so everything in this game is rewarding. If you like this genre of game, if you like this style of game, I think this is going to be another solid one in that context. Just it's kind of binary. If you like combo-tastic roll and writes, I think this hits the bill. If not, I mean, then you shouldn't be getting this game. Past that, what I do want to focus on as well is the fact that it is different from Fleet and Three Sisters. Now, this is not, like I said, already, not a comparison video. We'll be doing that at another point. But Fleet and Three Sisters are games that I feel a little similar in the core engine that they have, while I feel Motor City does branch out in ways that make it feel very, very different. And so, if you're someone that has Fleet and Motor City, if you're someone that has Fleet and Three Sisters, I would say Motor City is still worth paying attention to because it feels very different from those two. It manages to have the same general concept of the combo-tastic aspect of trying to pursue multiple strategies, of having multiple things you can upgrade in different ways, but it does so differently at the same time. The tracks have a very different overarching theme than the way Three Sisters and Fleet play out, and it does feel worth paying attention to as you go through this. It's worth looking at, is what I'm basically saying. As far as things I don't like, my biggest issue on Critique is prototype stuff, and I've already talked to the company, and I already know that they're changing a lot of these things. I'll mention it for the record, kind of, but it's stuff that I expect to change. I know is changing. The only question is, what is it changing to? Which is some of the graphical aspects of this was my least favorite from those three games. Some of the graphical aspects I found a little bit more confusing, the way different things are laid out, the way the dice potentially block the board over there and make it hard to see the symbols, especially if you're rolling multiple symbols on, the same thing over there. You basically have to kind of push things off to the side, and that becomes a little confusing. Which row is it in? I found this board to be a little condensed, and I know they're fixing that. I found some of this things like this 8-track over here to be a little confusing, and I know they're fixing that. I found some of the stuff, and some of the stuff, again, I don't know what they are and aren't changing. I just want to comment on it. This car dealership is a little hard to see because of the way the symbols are overlaid on the cars. It's not as obvious or visible. The fact that you're circling, filling in a dot, easy enough. Circling a dot, it's not always easy to see that you're circling in a dot, especially depending on the color of ink you use. Some of these tracks that you're going through, sometimes you're going to be marking off boxes and circles, other times you're just marking off arbitrary squares or track things. It's not as intuitive or as direct as to what you're marking and where things go in this game. Small nitpicks for the most part, but nitpicks that are anyways being addressed in different ways. I don't know what the final form is going to look like, but prototype, and my biggest complaint about the game is graphical stuff that likely won't be there in the final copy. As far as what things I can see others not liking, first of all, if you don't like the style of game, I don't think this is going to change your mind. If you don't like roll and writes, if you haven't liked Ganshan Clever, Fleet, Hadrian's Wall, Three Sisters, if you haven't liked any of these games that give you a combo-tastic feeling of do this, upgrade that track, keep rinse and repeat, try to find the optimal strategy of which way to combine 14 different things, if you don't like that, I don't think this is changing your mind. Secondly, this is one that I do feel, based on multiple plays at this point, I do feel, and I could be wrong here, that upgrading actions early on is essential. I think, meaning which action you upgrade, I don't think is as essential. But if you don't walk into the second or third round with strongly upgraded actions, where you have a competitive advantage, you have somewhere that you're better than other players, your testing is stronger, your sales is stronger, your production is stronger. If you don't have that going on, then I think you will suffer a worse game, because you won't have an area to specialize. Even if the dice roll poorly, you can always put them on an individual track. And then there's always a 6th, and there's ways to get these stronger actions, but if you don't have stronger actions, I think you will lose the game. And so I do feel that you kind of have to upgrade generally 2 actions, and at least one of them to level 3, to be competitive in the game. It's not a ding against the game for me, but if you don't like that, if you want the complete open reign, I think you have to kind of upgrade the actions. And then attached to that, what I will say, what can be a drop frustrating, is if you're playing it not so much at 2 players, But if you're playing it at 3 or 4, and I haven't played it at 4, but I've seen this at 3, if you're playing it at 3 players, and you have 2 players who upgrade the same action, it can be a little irritating the fact that on this core board over here, if we've both upgraded our sales to level 3, we're both going to be trying to take dice from the sales column, which means you and I might be a little bit more at odds than the third player who has a little bit more free reign. So it does have that slight ding in strategy in terms of if a player upgrades an action, and you could argue, well, if you see them going that route, you go a different route, but you may already have planned towards it, especially because of the way these engineering tracks work. You may have started planning towards something, even in your initial setup, before you see or find out that somebody else is going to get in your way. And so that's the only real ding, the fact that you could potentially be fighting with somebody else, letting a third or fourth player be a little bit less contended. Those things, to a certain extent, are equally balanced out by the very nature of luck itself, because you could roll dice and never roll in your stronger action. That's possible as well, but worth mentioning. As far as final thoughts on Motor City, it's a really solid game. I don't have anything magical or special to add here. I really like Fleet and Three Sisters. I really like this style and genre of game. I think Motor City is a solid addition. I would say that I think the biggest thing for me is going to be, again, slightly compared to Fleet and Three Sisters, where I love Fleet and Three Sisters, Fleet the dice game to be clear. I love those 2 games, but I do feel they do feel a little similar in the larger architecture of how they're designed. Versus I do feel Motor City is a drift from that, a drift in a good way, because while I like those 2 games, I don't need 3 of the game. I don't need 3 that start feeling samer and samer as you go through it. And so I was very happy to see that Motor City did feel like a break from those games, did feel like a different beast while maintaining the same combo-tastic goodness. If you like these games, I think you'll like this one. This is a 4 to 5 for me. A solid game. Even with all the graphical stuff, I could see this, depending on the final game, I could see this becoming my favorite. It feels a little less structured than those other 2, where there is a common mechanism in them. But as of right now, a 4 to 5, really enjoy this one and can easily recommend it. You can check it out on Kickstarter, link down below. As far as other game recommendations, obviously, Fleet and Three Sisters. If you like Motor City, you should check out those 2. If you like those 2, you should check out this one. And then Hadrian's Wall, which I think is the ultimate in combo-tastic board games because of the amount of combo-tastic stuff. I wonder how many times doing this review I used the word combo-tastic. It's got to be like 17 times? I think 17 times. I am curious, though, at this point, honestly. But in any case, this has been a review of In any case, this has been a review of Motor City from Motor City Gameworks. You can check it out on Kickstarter. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and I hope you have a good one.